Hi, welcome to My Court Coach. I'm Jaylyn and I'm going to be your instructor as we talk about Form DV-600, Order to Register Out-of-State or Tribal Court Protective/Restraining Order. So you're going to only use this form if you do have a out-of-state court order that protects you from a restraining party. So it's a non-California court order. So it can be anywhere from the United States. It could also be from the Indian courts as well. And California will allow you to register that out-of-state protective order. So do you need to do this? Do you need to actually complete this form in order to be protected in the state of California? And the answer is no. But why does the state of California offer this as an option if you're already going to be protected in the state of California? And the reason being is that all states do require a manner or procedure that allows people to register their out-of-state orders. So with all the states in the United States require it, and so California needs to fall in line with that. Now, in order for you to complete it, and should you decide to continue to register your out-of-state order, even though it's enforceable in the state of California regardless, you're going to complete your name. You're the protected person. If you have a lawyer filling this form out for you, then you need to include their information as well as their telephone and email. But if you don't have an attorney, you can keep your address confidential. And then you could also include your telephone or email. Or you don't have to. I mean, it's very optional. So name of restrained person is the person that you are seeking protection from or have protection from. And you need to describe the restrained party. So this information should be found on your protective order, and that should guide you to complete this in its entirety. And then you are protected by the attached protective restraining order. So that means that you do in fact have to have the copy of your restraining order in order for you to register it. So the order has to also include the superior court in which you received the protective order and the address to that court. So you want to include that information right here so that the court is aware where you received your protective orders. And then you have to certify under penalty of perjury that the following is true and correct in order for you to register it here in the state of California. So it's a true and correct copy. It's a currently valid order, and it is in full force and effect. It has not been changed, canceled, or replaced by any other order. Was made in a different state, U.S. territory, Indian tribal court, the District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, U.S. Virgin Islands, or in a military court. So this is the very definition of out of state. So out of California, if it falls into any one of those categories, then you are using the right form to complete the registration. And then you also have to write in the expiration date. And so that also should be found on your protective order. And we don't know what it is in other states, but in California, if there's not a specific time, then it is, midnight. And then if it's not a specific date, then we know it's 3 years from the time that the order was granted. So with this form, you're asking that the court enter your non-California protective order to enter it into the California law enforcement and telecommunication system. This request is voluntary, which means it's not necessary. You understand that the registration of the order is not necessary for enforcement. You're declaring under penalty of perjury, under the laws of the state of California, that the above information is true and correct. So it's as if you're in front of a judge certifying that everything that you've stated, including the out-of-state protective order, has not been altered, and it is in fact out of state, and it is a current valid order. Then you're going to date it and sign it. So that's your request. The second page is essentially the order. So the attached out-of-state restraining order is registered, valid, and enforceable in California, and can be entered into the California law enforcement telecommunication system unless it ends or is changed by the court that made it. So this also tells you that just because you register the order here in California does not mean that you can go now to the local courthouse to change the restraining order. So you can't do that. There is a different process that you'd have to check with your local county as to how to maybe transfer the restraining order to be heard, any modifications of that restraining order to be heard in a different county than the one in where you received it, and you'd have to check your local county for that. So the judge is going to sign off on it, and the judge is also going to date it. Now the clerk has some very important instructions that is codified by Family Code Section 6404. And so we're actually going to take you to Family Code Section 6404, because it states that a foreign order shall, upon request of the person in possession of the order, be registered with a court of this state in order to be entered in the California Restraining and Protective Order system. The Judicial Council shall adopt rules of court to do the following. They have to set forth the process whereby a person in possession of a protective order may voluntarily register the order with a court of the state for entry into the California Restraining and Protective Order system. Require the sealing of foreign protection orders and provide access only to three sort of individuals. So law enforcement, you with proof of identification, the defense after arraignment on criminal charges involving an alleged violation of the order, so if you're in criminal court facing criminal charges, or upon further order of the court. A fee is not going to be charged for the registration of the protective order, and the court clerk shall provide the form that is required to register the order as well. So this is the form that is required if you were wanting to voluntarily register your out-of-state order. So it states that no court hearing is required to register this order. This form and the attached protective order must be sealed, and then access to it is only allowed by law enforcement, the person who registered it with proof of identification, the defense after arraignment on criminal charges, or further order of the court. Those are the only individuals and the only other method in which that you can have access to this foreign protective order. The clerk's certificate must also be completed. So the clerk will certify it by dating it and signing it and also providing their seal. And that's all that you need to do in order to register your non-California protective or restraining order. We hope that you found this helpful, and best of luck.